Animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's another chilly morning out here in Africa. There's all sorts of animals calling, and this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
You are live.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another sunrise safari here on Safari Live. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Sebastian. And we are hoping to find lots of animals tonight. The hyenas started calling very early. We didn't hear anything of the lions, but maybe they'll be around. Now, remember, this is a live and interactive safari, so if you have any questions for us, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. You can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter and send us all sorts of things. You can send us pictures, you can tell us what you'd like to see today, you can do all of these wonderful things. Now, it isn't just me driving out here this morning. In the pre-show, you've already met Ali and Gert, and a surprise from the Mara. Scott will be joining us too. He's going to be going on a bumble through the wide open plains, and hopefully he's going to see all sorts of wonderful things. Now, something quite interesting, we got a message saying that the Nkuhuma Pride actually walked across the dam wall last night coming from the north. That is bizarre, because yesterday they'd said that the lions crossed into Simbambili, maybe, or Arathusa, one of those properties. Maybe they didn't. I remember seeing lots and lots of lion tracks though yesterday afternoon for the sunset safari, all going down the Power Lines Road, then Zoe's, and also going onto Triple M. So what could have happened is maybe they just did a big loop. Maybe they went all the way around, back towards Sydney's Dam, and then came back this side again. So Ali's going to go and search for lions. I heard some hyenas whooping around Sydney's Dam, so that's where we're going. To go. We're going to head in that direction and hopefully catch some of them on the move. And I'm not sure what else we'll find today. I'll keep an eye out in this area to see if we can pick up anything on Mvula, because this is where he was left around last night. Nobody ended up finding him, sadly. After Herbie got the call, he must have disappeared into that drainage line. But no tracks just yet. We didn't hear any soaring, no commotion. It was actually a very quiet evening compared to the evenings that we have had over the last few days. And it's cold. And then, look what I've got here. Let me stop, because I don't think I can multitask too well. Ooh, squeaky. It's so cold. I have my red, white and blue blanket on today to keep me nice and warm. And we didn't get sad yesterday, but happy Independence Day. I know it's the end of it for most of you in the States. It's already the 5th of July here. But I hope that you're all in good spirits, having fantastic celebrations. And I'm sure some of you will be watching the show as well, which is nice. So send us your pictures. Let us know how your celebrations went yesterday. It'll be quite nice to see. You can use the hashtag Safari Live. Right. Those hyena calls did sound quite far away. It didn't sound particularly close. But what I'm hoping is that maybe they're on their way back on this side, onto Djuma and back to their home. So we'll try and have a look around there. And then we'll probably go, if nothing happens around this side, we'll go and check the new road and around Triple M to see if Shadow hasn't come back yet. Right, let's go across though to Madam Ali and see if she's picked up on any of the lion tracks.
Welcome everyone to a very chilly morning out here in the African bush. My name is Ali, and on camera with me today is Gert, and we are very happy to have you guys on board. Seems like, or hopefully, it'll be quite an exciting morning. So if you've got any comments or questions, please send them using the hashtag Safari Live. Now, I think we've had some leopard tracks on the road, none that I can spot for the moment, because now I can only see hyena ones. But they have been roughly coming from Galago all the way up into Buffelshoek, and there were reports for a male leopard alarming, or well, not alarming, sowing not too far from where we are. So I wonder if perhaps Gurub Bula was walking around tonight, because the tracks that I saw seemed quite fresh for some time during the night. but I'm pretty sure that it was him then that they heard somewhere on the block. So I'm gonna quickly check the boundary, see if perhaps his tracks do cross somewhere else, because I think for now they've just gone into the block, and we will have a look around here and see what else there is. Apparently also the Nkuhumas were walking around here and headed roughly in that direction, so maybe, hopefully, they didn't go all the way into Manyeleti if they carried on crossing west, or well, that would be north actually, crossing onto Simambili. But good to go and have a look and check around. You never know what might come back or what might move around. Now, where are these tracks? Sorry, I thought I had seen one of these leopards tracks that I wanted to show you, but no, I think I was wrong. Right, well, we're gonna carry on driving down here and then see what happens. Obviously sticking my head out on occasion to try and see these tracks. Here they are, but you guys are going the wrong way. Alright, let me just show you the tracks quickly. So they're going off the wrong way. Now, let me just show you what I'm looking at on the floor, which is a good way to start looking for things. So I wonder where this thing went off to. Now, here's a little piece of stick. Now, the tracks that I think are the most obvious one are perhaps this one's over here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 toes, 1, 2, 3 lobes at the back. So probably the back foot and the front foot. So it's roughly going in that general direction. So it is going in an easterly direction, and we have all the tracks here. So I think it's the same leopard, because the one that we were looking for earlier kind of cut off into the block. So I wonder if perhaps it didn't go there and then it started walking all the way back here and then turned around and carried on this way. Now, my best guess would be that this is Mbula, because he's been hanging around here, but we also know Tingana likes to walk around quite a lot. So who knows, maybe we'll have our answers here. So let me just mark these tracks so that we've seen them, so that if anybody else comes along, then they know not to go tracking for this ones, because this ones have already been spotted. Alright, let me turn around and alright. Our beard, you're saying Happy Independence Day, Venezuelan Day for me from you. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I did think about it this morning, and thank you. That's very kind of you. I hope you guys, if you are from America, I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July, and if you're not, then I hope you have a wonderful day. Alright, there we go. Come on, Wendy, we can do this, you and I. Alright, let's not squash these tracks so that I can see where they go off to. But yes, Independence Day for Venezuela today. Hopefully it'll be such. Alright, now, where do these tracks go? This is where it gets interesting. It's a very tricky spot here. Seems like Taylor has already managed to... Nope, she didn't find a hyena. We thought she had, but she didn't. So I'm sure she'll give it another try. Now, I want to pay some attention to the road just to see if I don't miss any tracks around here. Hopefully not. But I can't see any anymore. So I wonder if perhaps he's actually gone all the way up and carried on east, which means that it would have crossed into Buffalo's Hook, which is not going to make me all that happy, to be honest, because I don't want them to cross into Buffalo's Hook. I want them to stay in areas where we can see them. Alright, are you a track? No tracks here. Yes. Alright, sad news. It seems like the tracks for these leopard that we were following around, they've been picked up on the... Ah! Hyena! You see it behind the trees. Nice! We lost a leopard, but we gained a hyena. Yes! It's just walking behind the bushes, so it's a bit complicated. There it is. Yay! Good morning! Now, I don't know if anyone can identify this hyena, but I'm sure we can try. So if you guys know who this one is, just send it through using the hashtag #SafariLive, and then maybe we'll find out if it's going back to the den. Although I think it's still quite a distance away from it, but amazing to see it walking around here. Nice big full belly by the looks of it. Oh, just striding in that typical predator like, there's two of them! There's one slightly in front. Exciting times! I think they're gonna... Yeah, there it is, climbing on top of the mound. You little fatties, both of you. You've also had a very good dinner, didn't you? Can we go forward? And I mean fat in no disrespectful way, just an endearing one. Don't go, guys. Yay! I'm so excited to see hyenas outside of camp. That makes it even better. Now we've got two different sizes for these hyenas. So one is the one that's closer to us. The one that we saw initially is definitely bigger than the second one. Now I think maybe they're gonna come and cross the road in front of us because it's coming this way. So hopefully we'll have a bit of a look. And just while we wait for them, yes, as I was saying, those leopard tracks that we were following, unfortunately they cross onto Buffel's Hook. Crystal, you say it's Ribbon and Gwen. Awesome! Good to see these two girls after a bit of an absence, and I think they've been out foraging just by the looks of your face. It doesn't look that clean, like you've been eating something. Have you now? There's a third one! Alrighty, let's see who it is. It's going to cross the road ahead of us, I believe. And they're making funny noises as well. What have you guys been eating? Awesome! I don't know if you hear that growl in the distance. That is them. Nice. Unfortunately, I cannot off-road for hyenas, but let's just have another look from here, and then I'm gonna do a bigger loop around and then start heading back to the den, because that's perhaps where they're going, which would be very cool if they did. Leslie, you say that it looks like they are very well fed. I agree with you. They've got very full stomachs, and it almost seems like on one of them there was a bit of like that dirtiness that comes after they've been eating. Oh, I'm so excited. What a nice surprise. I can still hear them. It's almost like they're contact calling, doing some grunts, and carried on moving south. So, we're slightly away from the den, but I would say that they're steadily going in that direction. So I'm going to do a bigger loop around so that we allow them enough time to get there, and then hopefully once we go and see them, then they'll be there, which would be quite exciting. I definitely did not expect them to be... there's a fourth one as well. Look. What? This is amazing. I wonder if maybe if they brought down an animal, because I have seen hyenas kill or make a lot of their own kills, or if perhaps there were lions somewhere else that made a kill and they've been enjoying it, because this one also has a very full belly. Nice one. Now I don't know if there will be more hyenas, because every time that I think that there aren't any more coming around, and there's a new one that shows up and pops out. But I think this was useful. We were following the leopard, and the leopard tracks led us onto the hyenas. Huh. Crystal, you say the third one that we saw is called Heart, and it's Gwen's Cup from 2015. That is amazing. That is very amazing. Cool, I'm so happy, because I don't know all of the hyenas around yet, but we'll see. Awesome. Very nice. Kobe, you're wondering if they stole a kill from the Antelope. Well, they could have. It's one of the possibilities for sure as to why their stomachs are looking so full. But I'm not too sure. Because there are no signs of hyenas or anything else. Sorry, there are no signs of lions so long. So maybe let me just go around and see. It could be, alright, now that I've turned around, sorry Kobe, it could be a possibility that they have stolen a kill from the Antelope, or that they've managed to get the scraps. However, judging by how full they are, I'm slightly more inclined to think that they made their own kill. Last winter, when the buffalo were so weak because of the drought, we saw there's a massive clan on Simambili and Elephant Plains in that area, and we saw them hunting buffalo on a few occasions. So they are formidable predators as well. I don't think it's a buffalo in this occasion, and I wouldn't know, but I think it's good to see them walking around like that. And perhaps I think what I'm going to do is just have a quick look around for any lion tracks around here, see if perhaps that will solve the mystery, and we'll be able to find out while we wait for them to get back to the den, because they're still a bit far away. Kylie, you're wondering why I can't off-road for hyenas. Well, while I would really much like to, unfortunately there are rules in place in all the reserves where we work, and mostly we can only off-road for, or in general for, any of the big five, so lion, leopard, elephant, buffalo and rhino. And there are an extra 2 exceptions that are made, that are the cheetah and the wild dogs. However, on Djuma we're not allowed to off-road for buffalo or elephant either, and the reason for that is just to try and have a lower ecological impact on the lands that we drive on. So hyenas are somewhat common, and if everyone started driving around them, especially around the lodges where they seem to hang around, then maybe we would damage everything around it quite a bit. So that would be a bit of an issue. So unfortunately the rules of the reserve are that we cannot off-road for hyenas, and funny enough, in all of the reserves of the Sabi Sand that I've worked for, you're not allowed to off-road. Yeah, I also had, just now 4 Misi that are looking very full, so I wonder if perhaps they didn't come from that area as well. Okay, copy, thanks. So apparently the hyenas, or some hyenas, were seen, 4 hyenas, so it must be this one. Okay, copy, thank you. So it seems like there were 4 hyenas last night feeding on an impala carcass, so I reckon it's have to be these 4 ones, because, well, we just saw 4 of them. So they didn't steal it from anyone, so very likely they made that kill, and they've been feeding on an impala. And they're all looking very nice and full, which is great news for all of us, isn't it? Or, well, more for the hyenas than us. Seems like Taylor did have another hyena as well earlier on, but no signal, so let's go over to her and see what she's looking for.
Yes, it was really quite interesting to see that hyena. It was at Sydney's dam and it was splashing about in the water, having a drink, but then it went back towards and into the Manuleti, so it must have been the hyenas that I heard calling. And then just another update, I did hear on the radio that Abel and a couple of the guides driving in Buffalo's Hook had leopard tracks, and then they also heard a leopard soaring. They followed it up, and it seems that the tracks go into the north, so that must have been Mvula from last night. He obviously turned back and cut his losses and has headed off and out of the property. But it was nice to see him, and hopefully our old man, the beautiful leopard, comes back and spends a bit more time with us. So we're on Triple M at the moment. There's been a lot of vehicle activity. Taxon's already come down here, and he didn't particularly point out any tracks. So I think what we'll do is maybe we'll go up Gowrie Main and just check around there. But I'm still confused about the lion sighting, and I spoke to Taxon and he said the same thing. He says, but they crossed south yesterday. We had all the lion tracks going into Arethusa. So I don't know where they've gone or where they've come from, or I'm just trying to understand about this update of them walking across the dam wall. It's obviously quite confusing. Lex said he didn't pick up on any lion tracks either. There you go, just passing one of the guys. Hello. So Lex said, I told him the update as well, because he's always keen to help us try and track down some of the big cats. And he said he drove all the way around there and he didn't see any lion tracks. He just had hyena tracks. So and I think we must maybe actually change our plan and maybe go towards the dam and just figure out which direction they came from and where they've gone, because we should have seen their tracks quite easily. I just want to see. I thought I saw some footprints. No, it was a waterbuck track that was crossing the road. It just looked quite big. So let's keep going. We'll just check here and we'll start making our way. Maybe we'll take Zoe's road and then head back towards Vuyatela Dam and start from there and try and figure out where on earth all the animals have gone. Because if we go all the way to the far east and check there, maybe they went a completely different direction, and then we're really going to miss out. And you know how quick those cats can move, so you need to try and stay on top of their trail, and at the moment we don't have a trail to follow. So we're a couple, not even one step, we're a couple of steps behind the lions. We'll have a look. It seems as though at one point last night, one of the Buffalo's Hook guides also found a male and female lion. I couldn't tell you who it was, near the Manuleti boundary as well. So I wonder which two lions they were. Hopefully we'll just find the pride, and then we can be able to put all the pieces of this puzzle back together. Woo! I'm glad I've got my blanket though. Sebastian's also got a leggy blanket. I brought it with, I saw another one and I thought, Sebastian always tells me that we have to do static sightings when it's freezing cold, so we don't get this horrible sort of cold wind that you get when you're driving about, and the chill factor is horrendous really. Even my fingers are freezing through my gloves. Oh lovely. Okay, so we're going to keep searching. Hopefully we're going to find all sorts of wonderful things. My dear friend Mr. Henry, well, you might not see his face today, but you're most certainly going to hear his voice. Let's go across to Kenya.
Good morning everybody, and welcome to the Masai Mara, and this specifically the Mara River. And what we have here is the Dusty Crossing, and at the Dusty Crossing, well, there is a crocodile. And I will show you what the crocodile is waiting to eat. Well, waiting next to. I'll explain what that means just now. Anyway, there is a large crocodile. You can see lurking in the depths. I wouldn't say it's much more than about, say 17 or 18 degrees Celsius out there. So pushing around about 68 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So he's lurking there in the stream, waiting for something to come down. And what, you might ask, is he waiting for? Well, the answer is about to be revealed. These cameras are set, and there will eventually be 5 of them, at traditional crossing points where the wildebeest and zebra and Thompson's gazelles of the Mara migration come along to cross. And if I move across here like that, you can see that this is a very well-worn path down which many thousands of animals have come over the course of, well, probably about 100 years or so, I guess. And they'll come down this path and they will cross the river around here. Now, despite the fact that they know there are crocodiles around here. Often they can see them. Often they are lurking below the depths, but they are compelled to move across the river onto the greener grasses on the other side. Now, I'm often a bit confused by this because to me it looks like the grasses are just as green on both sides. And so quite why they do that is a little bit of a mystery. We're now moving into some hippopotami. A large pod. Whoops-a-daisy. Sorry, everyone. I'm just getting used to these controls. And there's a very large pod of hippos waiting in the river as well. And they tend to be centered. I mean, they're all over the place, of course. Hippo, very territorial creatures. And so each of these, the big bulls of this area, will have a little territory on the map. So this is the Dusty crossing. Now, can we please go across to the cul-de-sac crossing? Ah, there it is. Marvellous, look at that. And I need to now just change my source, and we can see a yellow-billed stork. Obviously, we can see a whole lot of hippos waiting outside as well, but there is a beautiful yellow-billed stork. And of course, in the foreground, ye olde dinosaur of the deep. Isn't that amazing? The stork is looking for fish. Of course, this crocodile, not a particularly big one for this area, so it will still happily be eating catfish, no doubt, and any small things that come down to feed. There's another crocodile. You can see just how many there must be in here. Now, they too are very territorial. And the bigger ones, I think, we will find will have pride of place, if you like, amongst the crossing points. So this is another traditional crossing point. And like I say, we're going to put them at about 5 traditional crossing points. And these ones up north here, we're in the northern parts of the triangle now, I think are probably selected largely for the fact that they're quite shallow, which means that animals can move to and fro across them and kick off the ground if they get attacked. Now, Kylie, you want to know if the migration is almost over. Now, we need to sort of put to bed a couple of misconceptions, I think, about the migration as I zoom in on this rather scarred hippo. The thing to realize is that the migration never ends, Kylie. The migration is a continuous movement of animals, and it happens throughout the year. And in this particular area, in the Mara Triangle where we are now, it is most certainly not finished. So the animals have come into the southern parts of the Masai Mara, so into the southern parts of the Kenyan part of the migration area, and they have yet to come up north here to where these crossings are. Now, last year we experienced a number of amazing crossings. We watched many animals, unfortunately, being devoured by crocodiles and some of them drowning, but we have yet to see that in this particular area this year. It should happen in the next few weeks or so. Hopefully there will be a streaming of animals to and fro across the river. And then eventually, when or if there is rain further to the south of us, say probably around, I don't know, let's say perhaps around the beginning of September, you might expect many of the herds to move back towards the south. And one of the other great misconceptions, and one that I have perpetuated myself, is that there is one main herd, because it's quite nice to refer to the main body of the herd, and I quite like that term, you see, so I've used it very often. But it doesn't actually exist. There is no main body of the herd. The herd itself consists of thousands and thousands of little herds, and so it doesn't move as one great phalanx, as you might expect it to. Now let's move along here and see if we can't see any crocodiles in this particular piece of the water. And there we have a really sort of nice reflection of the sun there. Chuck, you're saying do crocodiles eat birds? Crocodiles will eat birds. Crocodiles will eat anything, including each other, should the opportunity arise. They are not shy to eat each other, and in fact, if you're a small crocodile, you don't really want to be around big crocodiles, especially if the big crocodiles have got hungry. All right, let's go back to the Dusty crossing if we can. There we are. You can see a whole lot of ox pacars sitting on the backs of the animals there. And thank you for your questions. If you're wondering how on earth Chuck is managing to speak to us all the way here in Kenya, well, you can just use the same hashtag Safari Live as you have for your questions and comments for Djuma. There are some red-billed oxpeckers. We are now zoomed all the way in, and you can see the hippopotami not particularly impressed with the weather, and so they've come out of the water to try and warm themselves. There's a bit of a wind blowing as well, and I will tell you that while I am not in fact out at the moment, I'm in the studio, which is slowly taking shape, and we'll show it to you eventually. Scott Dyson is out in the field. Unfortunately, he's just working on a few audio and technical glitches because we've got some new cameras and new microphones and new vehicles, and well, you know, it's just rather difficult getting it all put together. I've got to tell you, the amount of technical know-how, wizardry, work, rigging, nuts, bolts, wires, joins, tape, many curse words and that sort of thing have gone into creating this little process. Now, Ryan, you're wondering if the crocodiles and hippopotamus are friends with each other in the water. Ryan, they detest each other. The crocodiles, of course, need to be quite careful of the hippopotamus because the hippos will not tolerate their presence, especially around little ones. And the little ones, of course, need to be aware of the very big crocodiles, because a crocodile, as I say, will eat absolutely anything at all. Let me just zoom around or pan around here and see what else we can find up the river. So this is the Mara River, and just to give you a little bit of background to it, if perhaps you're not very familiar with it, it is about 245 miles long. It rises in the Mau Escarpment to the north of the Masai Mara, and it terminates some 245 miles later in Lake Victoria, which of course is Africa's biggest lake, and if I'm not mistaken, the world's third largest lake. So it is a really vast, almost inland sea. Mario, you want to know if hippos are the smelliest animals that we encounter on safari. Mario, no, they are not the smelliest animals that we encounter on safari. I'd say wild dogs are pretty smelly things, and I know that this isn't the best picture in the world. We're just getting used to the camera and trying to make it expose for the right things. Mario, wild dogs are pretty smelly. Hyenas are pretty smelly. Well, you know, I mean, sometimes on a really hot summer's day, I can be a pretty smelly human being. So, no, I don't think hippos are that smelly. They can give off a little bit of a pong, if you like, but they're not particularly smelly at all. Waterbuck, a lot more strong smelling, not unpleasantly so, but they are a little more strong smelling. Let's just try and lift that picture and show you some rapids there. Is that a crocodile on the bank? No, I think it's probably just a log. And there you can see the rapids. And these, of course, if you're a giant herd of wildebeest, this is not a particularly comfortable place to cross, but because the ground is relatively shallow, what happens is that the hippo can kick off the ground when they're attacked by crocodilians, which is, oh, there's another hippo in the background there. Ah, wonderful. Okay, good. We're going to leave you now. We'll come back and check these river crossings periodically during the course of the morning, and with any luck, we'll actually have a wildebeest or two, or a zebra, or Thompson's gazelle coming down to have a swim. In the meantime, let us head back down to South Africa to a hyena den, which seems to be sadly lacking in residents.
It does seem to be empty, James. We're very happy to hear that you're on the drive with us today, or on this morning safari. We have arrived to the den, but I think maybe our loop wasn't big enough because I can't see any of the adults around here. So I'm just going to wait for about 5 minutes. If they haven't come, then I'm going to leave entirely once more and perhaps come back a little bit later. They were steadily heading south, but maybe I underestimated the distance of where we were and all the way here, because it's slightly easier for me because I just go in a straight line on the roads, which is a lot easier than walking with 4 legs in between the very thick vegetation that there is all around here. But I want to give it 5 minutes, like I said, to see if perhaps those 4 hyenas will make their way back here. Hunter, you're wondering how long can a hyena live for? Well, as far as I know, about 20 years or so out in the wild. I'm sure in captivity or in areas where it's a bit more favorable, they can live a little bit more than that. They're very resourceful creatures, and they're very good at finding food in all sorts of different places. So I would say 20 years is a good average for them. Funny enough, I was watching a documentary recently about wildlife in cities and how they all survive, and there's a very interesting, I can't remember the name of the town, I think it started with the C, in Ethiopia, where they live very closely to the animals. Right, seems like Taylor's waiting for a leopard to cross a road, so let's go over to her and see if we get a glimpse of a beautiful girl.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited because I've never seen Thandi before, and there is a sighting already happening, of course. I can't get hold of the Eastern Channel, so Mike from Cheetah Plains very kindly helped me. But we're just standing at the moment on Djuma, we're on Cheetah Cutline. She's coming down towards the pan, and I just hope that she comes this way. I'm just trying to see if there she goes. You see her coming just past these quarries? She's just going to pop out over there now. I've never seen her before. This is so cool. What a beautiful cat. Now, they say it's Tandi, but I have absolutely no idea what Tandi even looks like. Yeah, sorry about that. There's a branch under that car. Has been doing lots of off-roading, as you can see. So I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, you all have to help me and help me confirm if it is indeed Tandi or not. She needs to cross onto our property. Please, girl, come this way. Come this side. And then hopefully we'll get another view of her. We're just going to have to be patient. I'm not going too far. As you can see, we've parked right out of the way. We've got a camera we can zoom in. There are already 3 vehicles here. It is a boundary, so you are allowed to have 4 cars. However, I don't like to put any pressure on the cats. I don't think it's necessary. We're lucky we see lots and lots of cats on a regular basis. So as soon as she crosses onto our property, it'll be great because we'll basically have it all to ourselves. I think Mike will maybe come and join us, maybe one other car. But everyone seems to be quite far away down in the eastern corner, not the eastern corner, in the northern corner, looking for lions. So we just have to wait for her. But if you can, hashtag Safari Live, if you can confirm that brief view we had is Thandi. And we're quite now, a very nervous crested francolin just ran across the road. I think what's happening now is I think that she is in fact having a drink. Look here, here's another crested francolin. Also quite nervous. Obviously they know that there's a leopard around here. Now we're gonna lose her. She's just disappearing around here. Let's see if we can get a view. Thanks, Mike. I somehow managed to copy that. My radio's on scan. Copy, thank you. Just want to have a look to see if we're going to go in here because it turns into Little Gowrie, and unfortunately we can't drive onto Little Gowrie. Just going to follow her from the road and just figure out where she's going. There she is. Thanks, guys. I'm just going to hang back on the boundary and see where she goes. So she's just coming through the trees now. Megan, any confirmation yet? Perfect. Kyle, you've said that you think it is Thandi. Well, that's really good if it is. I'll be so happy about that. Now, it looks like she's maybe on the lookout for something. Can you see that? She's looking, she's searching for all sorts of creatures. I don't know where Tumba is or where he's been. Ah, thank you, James. You have indeed confirmed that it is Thandi. Wonderful. My first sighting of her. Woohoo! So much like with the leopards. It's really great. Now, you're going to have to take lots and lots of pictures for me. Let me get up ahead again, find the next gap. Take lots of screenshots, of course, so I can have a look at them. Remember to hashtag Safari Live. There she goes. Maybe she comes through here. I can't see her. I'm really hoping she just keep coming north. Keep coming north. Now, of course, we can't control the movements of where these animals are going to go. We just got to hope that they come to the right spot. So we're just going to keep finding little gaps and things like that. She's still making her way through. I want to see if I can spot her spots. It's a bit thick. Let me see if we can't get another gap. Look through here. Let's just have a look. She's just coming through there somewhere. I've lost her now. But we should be able to hopefully spot her again. No. Has she gone further ahead already? I think. Oh no, here she comes. There she is. Just walking through that gap. Can you see her? There we go. Now I know it's not the greatest view just yet. But she's coming closer and closer towards Gary Main. We'll get there eventually. Like I said, we just want to give her room. Hello, Harry. Good, thanks, and yourself. Morning, everyone. There you go, just saying good morning to Ari and his guests, who I'm sure are smiling from they were. I just saw white teeth as they drove past me. They're very happy that they got to start their morning off with a leopard. So we'll just let her keep coming this way. Come on, girl. She might go down and into the Mulwati. We're not too far away from there. So we'll see what she gets up to. Where's she gone now? She stopped. I think we'll stay in this spot because there is another little gap. And that's what we are relying on. I couldn't even get the word relying on. Here the bird's starting to shout now, an alarm. There she goes. Just saw her tail. She's just, you should see her coming from the left-hand side of your screen. There she is. How cool is this? She's looking for something, definitely. Now this is also, again, a great area. We've been chatting quite a bit about it through the last few weeks now. How as winter comes about, all the animals start to move down to the greener areas. And that's, of course, around the drainage line. So her chances have now increased a whole bunch more for her if she comes down here, if she goes into that. There's lots of birds shouting, though. It sounds like there's some green woodhoopoos. They're not very happy about her, and they're giving away her presents. We're going to try and stick with Thandi now. Hopefully she comes across. Let's go across to Ali, who's having so much luck with the hyenas.
We do. One of them came around and it was just busy pasting and marking all around. But it's gone to the back of the den, and I believe that there's another entrance to the back. So I wonder if perhaps they are somewhere there, because I know Taylor mentioned that they like the back of the den, so I wonder if perhaps they're not facing that area, because we've only had this one that was quite busy around here sniffing everything, pasting and scent marking. So I'm wondering what we should do next. I think let me go onto the other side of the den. I believe there is a 2-track here that will take me there, and we'll go and have a look and see if perhaps these hyenas have actually been hanging on the other side. Alright. See, the good thing about old termite mounds is that they will have many tunnels and chambers, so they can come in and out of different sides. So I see it again. While we find these hyenas again, let's go over to Tandi, see if we can have another look.
Woohoo! She's just crossed onto Djuma, everybody. So we're going to just tell the guys on the other side. We'll actually tell them in a moment, but let's keep up with her. I'm going to just keep going, otherwise we're going to lose her in this thick stuff. We know how thick it gets. It's going to low range. She's going towards Leopard Road now, if I can get the car to drive. Yes, we're going to drive. This is fantastic news. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know where Tumba is, or where he's been at the moment. So I don't know if he's on Chitwa somewhere, if she's going for a hunt, maybe she's going back to find him. I'm not 100% certain. But this is going to be really tricky now because she's heading towards this drainage line. We're actually not too far away from where Gwen's den used to be. It's just around here. So she's basically heading towards this fire break. But we won't be able to drive down in there. Let's keep going. Let's see. There was also some impala alarming just a moment ago, but she didn't seem to be too bothered by them. She completely ignored them, and they were quite close. Obviously because she'd been spotted. There's no point going after something when you have, well, had your presents given away. There she is. How great was that? So patient definitely work. I also need to get hold of Mike though desperately, because he was the one that helped me with the sighting. Mike for Taylor. We'll try and stick with her. Let's see, she's on that log. No, there she is. Oh, there she is. Mike. There she goes again. Mike, come towards Leadwood Road. She's on Djuma now, but she's moving through Makulu Klatin. She's going north. Thanks, Mike. Okay, I was just quickly panicking. I was worried that we we're going to lose her. Let's go back around the boundary road onto Gari Main. Sorry, it's obviously a bit thick here. Let's see if we can catch her. Right, this might be quite nice. Where are you going, Tandi girl? Okay, let me just check. Mike says he's got her again. Mike, does she look like she's going down into the drainage line? Okay, copy, I'm coming in. Okay, so she's still going through here. Just need to find a gap back onto the fire break. She's just here. I just want to go a little bit further forward. There we go. Just got a little view of her. So now I need to turn my radio off. It's too loud. I can't concentrate with the voices that I hear from Megan. Turn down radio. There we go. Walking right in front of the car. How great is that? What a beautiful girl. Now she's also not particularly big, so where's Taylor? I'm out the car now. I'm laying completely flat. It's not in the way. The headless safari guide. That's so nice. She doesn't look overfed. She looks like she could probably eat, but she also doesn't look very thin either. I didn't see a lot of that excess skin. Okay, Mike's saying we can go. That's very kind of him. Ooh. Let's go. Memes, you said, is she looking for some kind of husband these days? Maybe. It was quite interesting, the sighting that Ali, of course, had. She's marking a territory at the moment with her in Tingana, where it looked like she was maybe being a bit flirty. This is what actually Dylan said. Brent's brother, who works at Chitwa, he says, I think he was there earlier, and he said that she looked very, very flirty. So maybe she's coming into estrus slightly earlier. It wouldn't surprise me. We see this often with leopards. They don't all, like I said, they don't always keep their cubs for as long as they should. Come on, girl, where are you going to go? I'm glad she's walking on the fire break. We will give Mike a turn now once we get a spot to pull over. We'll let him come through. We're going to have to play leapfrog, of course. We help each other out like this. So I'm going to pull up and over and let the leopard move around. So no, I don't think she's necessarily looking for a husband. And as we sit here, Joshua wondering if she's in another leopard's territory. Well, this was Karula's territory. Let me just tell Mike, you can carry on. You're welcome to jump in front. Here we go. We'll just watch her go around the corner, and then we'll let Mike take the lead. So yes, Josh, she is in another leopard's territory, but unfortunately Karula's not around anymore, so it's vacant. There is a lot of competition now at the moment, seeing who is going to get this piece of prime property. So it's between Shadow and her new cub, and then of course Tandi. They seem to be the two that are battling it out. Well, there hasn't been a battle, but we often see their tracks all overlapping. And then of course you've got Hosana and Shongile also moving through the land that their mother once had. So it'll be interesting to see who actually gets it, who stakes their claim. Maybe they just divide it down the middle and they have half and half, which would be quite nice. Though I don't know if that's really going to happen, because leopards aren't kind like that. Like I always say, nature's quite cruel. But this is really just amazing to be able to follow a spotted cat. That was the last thing that I thought we were going to see. I thought I was going to have to wait another year before I could actually have a look at Thandi. So, whew, finally. Goodness, what a big relief. Now I've seen most of the leopards that I really want to see. I think we're going to play leapfrog again. Just let Mike's guests are all taking a couple of pictures. Ryan, you said she looks like she's on such a mission this morning. She is on a mission. She's marking her territory as she goes. She hasn't called or anything just yet. So I don't know if she's looking for timber. Like I said, I'm not 100% certain as to where timber is. We'll just see where she's gone. We'll jump through, we'll quickly take the lead again, and then we'll do this. We'll pull off on the side and we'll let Mike come through. And like I said, it's really nice when we do have the opportunities to play leapfrog like this. She's going straight towards the Mulwati now. I didn't actually get a chance to check twin dams, so I don't know if there are any impala around there. There's a squirrel on the road, that's what she's looking at. Probably about 50 meters ahead of her. It's just running. That's what she's spotted. The squirrel doesn't know that she's there, completely oblivious. Look this way, squirrel, and then you will see a leopard, but she's standing completely still. Look at that. Oh, crouching. I don't think the squirrel's going to come all this way. I'll be very surprised. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's not a very clever squirrel. But she's laying flat in the ground. See, now she doesn't look like a predator. When she was standing up, that shape of her body was very, very easy to pinpoint. So laying flat, the squirrel's just up to there. Oh my goodness, I really want to move, but I can't move now. I want Mike to come and see. No, it's gone off of the road. Let's see what she's going to do next. The squirrel is now up and on a little tree. She's watching it. But I think that tree is covered in thorns, so it wouldn't be a good one to go pouncing on top. Now this wouldn't really be a meal for her. This would be a little power bar, you know, just sort of like grabbing a carrot stick or a celery, and then off you go on your way. She would devour it very quickly and then keep going on about her mission. I can't see the squirrel now. I think it's just run off to the left. But let's see. It might just be chasing the sun. Because it is so cold this morning, we've been seeing it every day. The animals are looking for sun to try and warm themselves up. I think she's still seen it. I don't know if the squirrel's now on the little logs. Obviously I don't want to move now because I don't want to give her position away. And we know how scared the squirrels are of the cars. So if I start my car, I know that the squirrel's going to run, just run. But isn't that amazing that a fully grown leopard is still enticed by something like a squirrel, and she knows how important it is to continuously keep her belly filled, even if it is just with small little snacks. That's what young leopards do. That's what they rely on when they disperse from their mother. It's a very tough life for the first couple of months after that, figuring out how to actually hunt larger game. Come on, girl, what are you going to do? The squirrel hasn't alarmed, so I don't think it knows that she's there. But it also may have found another spot to sun itself on the branches. She doesn't seem to be looking in that direction anymore. I'm going to tell Mike he can just come and drive up next to me if he likes, because it should be fine if he comes from the back. You tell Mike that Leadwood Road is here. Okay. He's on the radio to Lex, I think. Jenny Animation, you say, what patience for an energy bar? Exactly. 100%. So much energy is put, so much patience is put into it. I mean, I've completely changed my whole outlook on leopards now after what Mvula did, waiting the entire night to try and catch a warthog. Then to be showed up by the warthog is serious patience. So yes, I was going to see Mike and want to get his attention. Sorry, I'm just looking back. I want him to come and pull up next to us. I think, Seb, let me pull off to the side just slightly. She's not stalking that squirrel anymore. As you can see, her body posture is changed slightly. So I'm going to pull off here, and then Mike can sit in the middle of the road because we don't need much of a view. We've got the camera, it's positioned quite high, so we can also look down, and then Mike can also turn his car so that all his guests can come and see. But you can see her just sitting there. It is always tough to try and navigate and try and get a good spot that everybody can view, but now that she's not too worried about that squirrel anymore, it's okay. I wonder if she maybe hasn't seen something else also into the distance. That's a possibility. Maybe a scrub hare or a steenbok, or duiker lurking around here, going about their morning. Because none of the birds have even alarmed, and there's quite a few birds around here. There's drongos flying overhead a moment ago, some hornbills, and none of them have screamed leopard, leopard, leopard. Well, not yet. That could still potentially happen. Gillian, it's great to hear from you. You've said that you love the way that they flatten themselves out like this. It is, and it's so important to get down low when you are a big cat, or actually any of the cat species when it comes to stalking. Because the lower you are, especially if it's short grass or on an open road like this, like I was saying earlier, you stop looking like a big predator. Because when you stand up, you show yourself, and you do become... Sorry, what is she looking at? See her tail's twitching now? I don't know what she's maybe seen. There's a few birds edging closer to her, hopping about the trees. So I hope they don't give her presents away now. So laying flat down on the ground like this is very important. And my best thing I've ever seen is actually watching lions stalk in the shortest grass you've ever seen. Bellies flat on the ground and literally just creeping forward, almost like they're moving their toes to grip the ground. And then they'll slide themselves forward, not raising their bodies at all. And that's really, really impressive. I didn't also, until I'd had this particular sighting, I never knew that a lion could honestly flatten its body to the ground. So leopards, obviously you've heard the word leopard crawling. I think that leopards do it best. They're also much smaller than a lion too. So it is a little bit easier for them. You see that little prenia just fly across the screen as well. So it's edging closer and closer to us, so it knows it's there. Why haven't you alarmed just yet? Unusual. It's not like that little bird would be fearing for its life. It's much smaller, and it's quite easy for it to hop around in the tops of the thorny trees. It's actually getting quite cheeky. I'm just watching it bounce about. Maybe she's just having a little rest. Do you see where I'm looking, Seb? Just in there. There it is. Yeah, you got it. Well done. Hello, naughty. Sitting right on the edge. Very sweet little bird. Why are you not shouting? Looking down at it, you see? It's actually watching the leopard. Probably about 6 foot away from that leopard. Not very far. Like 6 feet away. And off it goes. It's decided it's no more fun. I'm still scanning in the distance to see if she has seen anything. But nothing just yet. We must have, I think we've actually already passed Leadwood Road. So this fire break then goes straight into the Mulwati. We won't be able to go down this fire break. We'll actually have to go all the way around and go through it if she does keep heading that way. But that actually worked out perfectly for us. I'm glad she's come back home. We love seeing her. Well, my first time seeing her, but I don't know that everybody else loves to see her too. Right, now she's being very patient, and I think we're going to be patient too. We've had lots of practice to perfect the patience sort of waiting game that we often have to do when you're with these big cats. Let's go to James in the Mara and look at his beautiful birds.
We are indeed looking at some beautiful birds, and they are nesting. Now, from what I can tell, these are banded martins, and they're nesting in this little riverbed. And we'll just try and get you a better picture of them now. There they are. Look at that. Isn't that magnificent? I'll stay at this particular angle, or at this particular zoom range, and just see that they've been coming in and out of these little holes throughout the course of the morning. And you can see it's a bit of breezy out here at the moment. And of course, I mean, that's not the most entertaining picture you've ever looked at, so we'll just zoom out a little bit, but if they come back, we'll zoom back in. And they've been lying there, and they excavate with their beaks, and then they sort of shuffle around and round the hole with their wings. They lie on their sides and kick and sort of flap their wings as much as they can inside there. And eventually, I suppose, they will lay their eggs inside the holes. James, you say, do birds have actual nesting seasons here in the Mara? Yes, they absolutely do. I mean, I think you're asking that question because, of course, the climate here tends to be pretty stable. There is actually a season. We're in the really cold season now, although it's not particularly freezing. It can get very nippy at night. And, of course, we are quite high up, so it does get cold, but absolutely not cold enough for there to be a sort of dormant season. There you can see all the myrtle martins flying around. So these particular martins, just let me try and zoom in quickly. Excuse the speed with which this is going to happen. There we go. Let's go up a bit. There you go. Now, as far as I can work out, that's a banded martin. I've really quite struggled to identify them, but I think that's what we're looking at there. And, for example, James, the sand martin, which looks quite similar to this, is migratory and is here between October and May only. And so almost like a sort of summer resident in South Africa. There you can see it lying on its side and kicking out. And if anybody wants to contradict me on the identification of this bird, I'd be more than happy to take the criticism. The problem with my identification is that it doesn't have a distinctive sort of white eye stripe, which I think is a bit strange. But I'm wondering if that isn't just simply because either it's a young bird or because I'm looking at, you know, the detail isn't quite as good as it might be. But it looks like a banded martin to me. I can't see, well, you know, I'm looking at pictures of them now, and they don't look exactly the same as that, I must say. Anyway, could be a rock martin, I suppose. Michael, you want to know if there are more birds in the Mara or in Kruger? Well, the Mara is about 370,000 acres, which translates to about 15 or 150,000 hectares. And the total bird list here is between 450 and 500 birds. Now, in the Greater Kruger Park, their list increases to about 900. So there are about 900 different species that you find in the Kruger Park. So yeah, I mean, I guess the Kruger is a more diverse habitat. I suppose this could also be a brown-throated martin, you know. Let me just check if they occur here. Isn't that special? I think that's just rather wonderful. There we go. We'll zoom out. Now let's just see if there's anything else going on at this particular crossing. Perhaps a great teeming herd of wildebeest has moved majestically from across the plains. You can see all the birds flying there. Number of swallow species, greater striped swallows. They're lovely bzz, bzz, bzz calls. And of course the sun is now very much up. All right, now Thandi apparently is on the hunt, so let's go back to Taylor and find out if she's going to have her breakfast.
She's probably going to get her breakfast. I'm just going to go back just ever so slightly, not much, just a little bit. There's impala rams walking. Mike, do you want to come behind me? No, I'm saying to Mike if he wanted to come up ahead. They're running straight to, okay. They're running straight towards her. Let's watch from here. The impala rams, there's about 4 or 5 of them. There's a big one, there's a couple of youngsters. Please catch one. Come on, girl. I don't think they know that she's there. There's the leopard crawl we were talking about just a moment ago, flat down on the ground. They're coming right towards her. This is amazing. I just saw the ram is about 2 or 3 meters from her. I think she's going to wait for it to walk past. They're just going to sit quietly. Come on, girl, you can do it. Those rams don't want to spend too much time in the thicket. They look like they want to cross out onto the fire break. I can just see a little bit of movement. Now, they're on the move again. See how she's flattening herself, tucking her legs. There's the impala ram. She's going to wait till it turns its back, I think. Now there's a whole lot more, so I don't know if she's going to wait for them to all get in front of her. Where are the others? You see, the problem is if she races out now and goes for that one that's already crossed the road, she's going to lose her chance. Here comes the next one. That's a big ram that's just crossed out. She's going to lose her chance. And they'll all run away in alarm. So it's almost like what the lions do when they hunt buffalo and they follow the big herds of buffalo around. They go for the ones right at the back that are going to draw less attention to themselves. Now she's going to try and get behind them. There's still more coming. I'm sure I still saw more youngsters, younger impala rams. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat and I'm sure you're all doing exactly the same thing. Come on, Tandi, you can do it. She's obviously got her eye on one. I'm trying to see if I can see some more movement. Come on, girl. It doesn't even look like she's breathing. She's sitting so still, and that's how I feel. I'm also holding my breath. Julia, you've commented and said it's crazy how the impala didn't even see her. It's amazing. So this is just her camouflage again, flattening herself on the ground. She probably just looks like a bit of wood. There's not much wind either. I can't even see a leaf or a blade of grass moving, so she's got that as well. Although I'd prefer it if she had a bit of wind because she maybe could have moved a bit quicker. Thandi, what are you doing? Is there one more in there that we can't see? Sounds like there's some more impala just on the other side of the drainage line again, so maybe they're going to come through following the same pathway that the small group already has. I thought I counted more than just 3 as they were funneling down. There could still be one. Maybe it's just stopped to feed. Oh, there we go. Have you got something, Seb?
No, I thought she was, but she's relaxing.
Oh, Tandi. She looks like she's slightly disappointed in herself. Girl, you've had a perfect opportunity there. Now, ideally a leopard wants to get within a meter of its prey before, but they can sort of race over with that distance that she had between them. It wasn't a particularly big one. Now, Ginger, you're wondering if the impala could have smelled her. If they did smell her, they would have reacted. Just have my foot all the way. They would have reacted, they would have snorted, they would have stared right at her. They wouldn't have just quickly moved across the road like that. And typically when animals do move through thickets like this, they have to be very cautious. It's just the same as us when we go walking when you're walking safaris. Out in the open, you can be a little bit more casual because you can see what's around you. But when you walk through these thick patches and drainage lines, and we know that there are lots of the big cats or leopards, lions also hunt around these areas. You don't want to hang around in them too long, so they will move quite quickly and into a spot where they feel slightly safer. Just checking to see if I can see any more. I don't know if she is going to chase after those impala. It seems as though she is disappointed. She missed her opportunity there. Ali, however, has gone from hyenas to birds, and she's got a big eagle in a tree.
Yes, we do have an eagle in a tree. However, it's making it very complicated for us to try and find out what it is because we can't really see any colors. We're going just by shape. So I would say something like a tawny eagle, but I am hoping that it's going to fly into an area where we can see it slightly better than what we are looking at it now. Now, we had to leave the hyena den, unfortunately, because the adults just came around. They pretty much did a loop around the den or the different entrances of the den, and then they carried on and they left. So we don't really want to be around if the adults left. So 2 of them walked past and carried on going. I thought perhaps they were going to go for a drink at Gallagher Pan, but we went down there and they still weren't there. So I think maybe let's just give them a little bit of a break and carry on while we look at all of these different creatures that are still around here. Oh, I can hear friends, the ground hornbills in the distance as well. But just look how powerful that beak is on this eagle. It's got to be very sharp and potent to be able to rip to pieces anything that they get and to be able to feed on it successfully. Now I'm going to try to get slightly closer, see if perhaps it doesn't fly away so we can put an end to this mystery and see what it is that we are looking at. Murphy, you say that they are so big. I agree with you. I do think it was a tawny eagle, just judging by the size, and of course now it's gone and perched on a tree completely against the sun. So if we couldn't see it earlier, I don't think we're going to be able to see it now, although who knows. Let's give it a try. Maybe now we'll be able to have a look with the binoculars and the camera, seeing that the sun is to our side. Funny looking head. So yes, this is a tawny eagle looking at us from all the way over there, enjoying, well, it was looking at us, now not so much, probably just enjoying the warmth of the sun. Like we said, it's been a cold morning, but everything has been out and about. Oh, I see a vulture as well in the distance. So I wonder if perhaps there's anything around here. I know there was a mention of things around this area. And normally when we start seeing tawny eagles and vultures and battlers, it could be an indication that perhaps there's a kill somewhere around this area. But because it's been so cold this morning, I don't think that there's necessarily a kill around here. I think that this is where these animals spent the night, and because it's not warm enough, then they haven't started flying around and looking for food. I think it's a bit more the case of the vultures. The eagle doesn't necessarily have to, it's not as grounded as the vultures are when there are no thermals going up. Julia, you're wondering what tawny eagle is most likely to hunt in this area. Well, anything from little rodents to small birds to even small mammals. Tawny eagles are known to be powerful enough to be able to come down and steal the young ones for duiker, steenbok, and even impala. I've seen tawny eagles flying away with the tiny little impala lamb just a few moments after it was born once in the Kruger National Park. But also if there is a kill, you'll see that the tawny eagles come down, the battler eagles come into the area, and so do the different species of vulture. Alright. I think maybe let's go down this drainage just for good measure to make sure that we are not forgetting anything around here. Just to make triple sure that they all spent the night here. I do remember that vulture, so I think there's not much. Seems like Taylor is still hanging around with Thandi, and it seems it's been a very, very exciting sighting. So go back to them and see what Thandi is doing now.
Well, we're gonna have to go back and all the way around, I think. Thandi is not, sorry, I'm just chatting to the guides as we do that. She's just walked off the road. But now the only problem is that we need to try and all go back around that way. I don't know if we've passed Leadwood Road just yet. Where is she? How did she just disappear like that? I think she's gone down. No, come back! Come back! I'm just trying to figure out if we've passed Leadwood Road yet. Let me quickly go along here. She's given up on her search. The impala gave her the slip. I can't believe she missed that. I think we are here at Leadwood Road. Hang on, let me go around. Yes, let me tell Mike. Mike, you can come through this way. Leadwood Road is just up ahead. Sorry, we couldn't figure out how far along we were. Let's see, I think she's going back here. Woo, down we go. Try and figure out where she's going to pop out now. She's somewhere here. Thandi, Thandi, Thandi! Man, girl! don't go in this property. Come back here. There she is. She's crossing out. So I think she's going towards where the other impala were making a bit of noise. She's just marking up against a guarri tree now. Aye, girl, we were rooting for you the whole time. Everybody was sitting on the edge of their seats. What did she see there? She keeps stopping. She definitely does want to catch something. Now that I look at her, she doesn't look very thin. I mean, she has got a slight belly on her, so possibly she's eaten something. Maybe in the last 24 hours or so. Not anything too big. Remember, if Tumba has been with her, Tumba will gobble down the last little bits because he'll be a hungry boy. But now she is disappearing into little Gari. And if she does continue going in this way, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to follow her. But we'll stick with her for as long as we can. No, not going that way around. She's taking a different route. I think that was slightly obstructed. Maybe some serious thorns and she didn't want to get herself tangled up in them. Just pointing her out to Lex. So, like I said, I heard impala rutting just on the other side, even though it's a bit late for them to be making noise. We saw yesterday how the males were chasing each other around. So there must be a bachelor group or something up here, or maybe even just a breeding herd. She's going to actually walk up and through that pathway where the Tumbuetis are. You see there? I think that's where she's going to go. Straight through that gap. There, she just walked past it through the... And here there's lots of birds now chattering about, obviously talking about leopards. Yeah, I think we're going to lose her. Right, I think that's the last of her. Lex, you're welcome to go. And unfortunately, there goes our leopard sighting. Oh no. Well, we'll have a scratch around here. I do want to tell the guys on the east that this leopard has gone back into Little Gari, but I'm going to send you across now to Kenya with James and see what's happening on the river cam.
Well, the river cam is, well, not a huge amount going on there, hoping for a great teeming herd of wildebeest to come down, but I think they're still a little bit far south. Let's go back to cul-de-sac crossing, where we can see a number of hippopotami. There they are, the same ones. They're just out of the water now, not doing a great deal. Why would you if you didn't have to? No, there looks like an interesting bird. Let's go down and have a look and see what that is. It looks like a blacksmith lapwing, but it may be a slightly more exotic creature. It is indeed. Right, there we are. You have a look at that and you tell me what you think it is. Hashtag Safari Live. I have seen this bird before. I have now, obviously, since I saw it last, forgotten what it is. It is a lapwing of sorts. And if I am not much mistaken, hang on a second, I'll find it for you now. Is it? No, it's not a common blacksmith lapwing. It's a spur-winged lapwing. There we go. A spur-winged lapwing, so named because, unsurprisingly, it has a, everybody together, that's it, a spur on its shoulder, which it probably uses to attack its fellows when things get a little bit hot on the competition front for ladies. I think that's a wonderful picture of the spur-winged lapwing and the hippopotamus, which is not in fact dead, but fast asleep. Now, many of you may be wondering what it is that we've been doing here, why you haven't been seeing us very often, and the main reason is that we've been rehearsing at night time. We've been following lions. Scott and Brent and Jamie have been following lions all night long, and then we've of course been rehearsing for our TV shows. And what's interesting is that we, all of us, have told you countless times how, there's a wagtail, pied wagtail, how lions sleep for 20 hours of every day. Well, I'm going to tell you, the lions here don't sleep for anything like that. I imagined when we went out to follow these lions at night, well, they might move around for 4 hours or so, kill something and eat it and then go to sleep. Well, they do a huge amount of moving. And in fact, Jamie and Scott were both awake all night the other night because their lions just didn't stop moving around, trying to hunt, sort of reaffirming their bonds. Then they'd lie down briefly, but as soon as they had sort of seemed to settle, they'd get up and move again. So unlike these hippopotamus, the lions of this area don't seem to be doing an enormous amount of sleeping, which is wonderful if you try to film them. And Lexi, you're wondering how long hippos sleep for. I think you'll find that although they don't sleep particularly soundly all the time, I think you'll find that they doze an enormous amount. There are some Egyptian goose. So, I mean, I'm going to go up to 18 hours or so. There's some very nice Jippo geese and another few spur-winged lapwings. Just enjoying the morning. It is warming up slightly, but I've got to tell you, we've had 2 chilly days in a row now. These geese, of course, very few dams here. In fact, almost no standing water at all. This is a much more sort of natural state of affairs, for example, from that perspective. But interestingly, as I say that, let's just pan across the water and see what we can find. This ecosystem is to a large extent man-made. And when you next visit me in the studio, I'll show you the map of how it all happened. But basically, the fact that it is so clear and free of any trees has got a lot to do with the human presence in this area for, well, many millennia indeed. And the fact that it's a wildlife area now owes its existence really very largely to the rinderpest epidemic that had occurred at the end of the 19th century. Can we go to the dusty crossing camera, please? There we are. And what that means is, and I'll just quickly tell you this as I pan around, well, as I push the controls and pan around. What that meant was that come the turn of the century, of the last century, what happened was that all of the cattle died as a result of this rinderpest epidemic, introduced into Ethiopia by the Italians who were bringing in supplies for their attempted colonization of that area. And the rinderpest wiped out all of the cattle in this area, and in so doing reduced the Masai of the area to, well, beggars in many respects, and many of them left the area or became sedentary millet and sorghum farmers as opposed to pastoralists, which is what they'd always been. And then, of course, the wood came back, and what the wood did was the wood encouraged an area, or encouraged the tsetse fly back into the area, and the tsetse fly precluded humans and cattle coming back into the area, and the wildlife thrived. And just after that, of course, it was proclaimed a wildlife area, this entire Serengeti Mara ecosystem, and only from about the 60s did the enormous numbers of wildebeest that we see here now begin their yearly migration. Sorry, let's quickly go back to the cul-de-sac crossing. I can see a little bit of action going on there in a hippo that has just stood up. And so what's interesting is that many people, although this landscape certainly has supported this many animals for, well, probably millions of years, the current situation is less than 100 years old, which I just think is rather fascinating. Now, Julia, you want to know if there's any ecological benefit to having the birds hanging about. You know, Julia, I don't think there's any benefit at all. I think that they just happen to occupy the same sort of habitat. They obviously don't eat the same thing. It's a little hippo's getting a bit restless. I'm going to see if anyone wants to play. So I don't think, no, that there is a great deal of benefit for the birds being there with the hippo. They're not like oxpeckers, although we did see some oxpeckers flying around on the hippo a little bit earlier. Clearly they're not very tick-ridden, otherwise there'd still be oxpeckers there. So no, I think they just occupy the same habitat. I suppose they might alarm call if something really terrifying came along, but you can see that there's not a great deal of, well, terrified behavioural vibe coming out of those hippo. There are the swallows picking up bits and pieces off the ground. No, I think this is very special. I'm going to keep an eye out for some bigger crocodiles, see what happens, keep following to see if perhaps the wildebeest don't come down. And I'll just quickly show you where they come down here. They'll come down basically where those hippo are, if they come from the north to the south. Okay, let's head back to South Africa where Jamie's here, where Ali is attempting to Sherlock Holmesify the Nkuhuma Pride.
And a mystery it is indeed. So we've circled around pretty much all of the roads on the northern and eastern side of the dam, see if perhaps there were any tracks of them coming along here, but we haven't been able to find one. Just lots of hyena tracks in this area. So perhaps now we need to do the south and western side, see if there's anything there that might point in the direction of them. I haven't heard any of the other lodges call them in or report where their last position was or if anyone's found them. So I think a bit later on in the morning I'm going to do that. But I would like to see if perhaps there are any tracks anywhere around here. Lots of vehicles have been driving around, so it could also be that if they crossed in a bit of a funny patch that we wouldn't be able to see any tracks. But I don't know, I just find it odd, because the tracks for a whole pride of lions are quite hard to miss. Alright, we can go onto our beautiful dam, see what it is that it's there. We're just coming onto Gowrie Dam now, onto the dam wall, so we're going to be able to see what it is that it is up here in the dam that is slowly starting to dry out, just as the last few months of the winter season last. Now let's see if there's anything around here, perhaps any... Oh yes, can you go in front of us? There's a Borschel's kukel. Fly... No, come back! Stay! Ah, there it is. Well done. That was very quick of you. There's a Borschel's kukel. It's also known as the rain bird because it's believed that it calls once the rain comes along. And I'm very happy we didn't hear it making a noise this morning, because Tristan did give me a fright yesterday telling me there was predicted rain for today. Sometimes I wonder if he does it on purpose just to terrorize me in advance. But you can see he's quite quiet, so not calling, making his beautiful call. And hopefully a new bird on the list for somebody else. Beautiful. They're often in thick vegetation, so they're not that easy to spot. I think maybe it's gone down, or you're going for the kill. I think he is busy looking for food. You're a wonderful creature, aren't you? Loves walking on top of the grass like that and on the branches of trees, just to have a bit of a vantage point when looking down for prey. The not so graceful way that it got tangled with the grass. Shame. And we always find them in between clumps of grass like this, and it's quite amazing that such a big bird will maneuver its way around it and still be successful enough to find prey. Sometimes I think the equivalent of it would be like a T-Rex going into the jungle, trying to be quiet so that he can find some food. And there it is, gone. And it's quite a large bird. I would say maybe about 20 centimeters tall, so probably about this big if I had to stand next to it, and gone into the clumps of grass. Alright, well at least the dam was quite an interesting one with that bird. Let's see, let's carry on and see what else we can find around here. Sometimes the best little surprises you find when you're not looking for them. Julia, you're wondering if there are any animals that cover their own tracks. Well, not that I'm aware of. There are animals that will try to hide their scent, but not the tracks. Probably because the prey cannot recognize tracks. So it would be a waste of time and energy to try and erase their tracks from the road. So what they do try to do is hide their scent. That is a bit more common. Like we've seen the lions and the leopards sometimes roll around in buffalo dung when they go hunting, so that nobody can smell them in advance. Alright. Which way should we go? I think this road has been checked. Let's go around here, see if perhaps there are more or any lion tracks around here. Thought I had seen one, but no. Alright, we can always go and check the other side of quarantine. I believe that nobody's been down there, or perhaps that new road Shadow seems to like, and that one termite mound. seems to be her favorite, new favorite termite mound, which I won't complain about because it's an epic little spot for the cub, of course, for Shadow to. I'm very confused about this lion mystery. But oh well, I do think that sometimes animals do these things to play with our minds. Maybe they've grown wings. And if they have walked on top, or if they did walk on top of the dam wall and went into the Molowati, it would be quite hard to pick up on their tracks. So let's see. Look at here. Sorry, there are just some water thickenings that are looking very funny. There we go. You see at the bottom of the quarry. Good to see you guys away from the dam. 3 of them, and it seems like it's 2 adults and potentially one of the youngsters from the summer season. Huh. Nice one. Little things all around, and these birds, we normally see them at Chitwa Dam hanging around Vlad the crocodile. Nice. Alright, an unexpected bird over there. So we're going to carry on. See what else there is around here, if perhaps we get any leads into the lion mystery. Alright, any other little birds? Perhaps a whole pride of lions hiding in between the quarries? Seems like Taylor has managed to find a little antelope, so let's go over to her and see which one it is.
Not just one little antelope, we've got 2 steenbok. That's the male we're looking at just disappearing. The female has already just run across the other side of that little bush willow. Let's see if we go forward. We might be able to get another view, but they're very, very shy, as they should be. See if you're going to run this way. I can see the ears. Let's pretend like we're going to go forward, and maybe we can look around the corner. No, there they go. I knew they were. Oh, there we got them. They're sneaky. There goes the male again. There's the female just off to the left, and the male not getting too far behind her. So they've obviously come together to do mating, which is quite interesting, because typically the species of antelope are territorial. They're both male and female, mark and defend territories. So this is quite a nice little sighting. Normally we don't get to see them out in the open and for very long. So we need to take sort of opportunities like this just to have a look at some of the smaller things. Now, Thandi, if you were to come this way, you'd again have another opportunity to catch something to eat. And Sebastian and I have been chatting about her strange behavior. We don't know why she's doing what she's doing. Maybe she's seeking out one of the male leopards, and then off they go. That was quite nice though, just a quick sighting of the steenbok. You know, obviously she was seen hanging around with Tingana. Maybe she is. Maybe she's about to come into estrus, and she's feeling slightly on the flirtatious side. Obviously we don't know for sure. We just, again, it's just speculation, because she keeps marking her territories, and that opportunity with those impala was perfect. It couldn't be any more perfect. They didn't know she was there. They were a couple of meters away, close enough for her to literally take 2 or 3 steps and she would have had one, especially if she went for the ones that right at the back. So anyways, a little bit sad, a bit disappointing. I'm sure she's more disappointed with herself than what we could ever be, but hopefully she does catch something. Now this of course means, where's Tumba? We haven't seen any male leopard tracks on the property now, barring Mvula's tracks all around Mvubu Road, around Vutela Dam, Gallagher shortcut, those spots, but nothing down in this way. So he could either be on Torchwood, he could be maybe on Chitwa, maybe he's on Little Gowrie somewhere, but he's definitely not on Djuma. I think what we're going to do now is, because we're having so much luck with the spotted cats, is let's try our new road, the one that Shadow likes to hang around on. I didn't see any leopard tracks crossing in and out of the property on Gowrie Main or on Triple M. So she might be around. Maybe she's snuck onto the property at some point. Maybe she's here. but we'll give it a bash. It's also a great road for birding. Let's see if we can find any more small birds. Oh, there's another steenbok. Don't run. Don't run. Wow. I didn't even see it until the last second. That's another male steenbok. It was standing out on an animal pathway, and I completely overlooked it. But this one is obviously, he's panicked now. He doesn't know if he's going to run or not. You see how he's sort of in two minds. He's listening to us. We've stopped, so I think he knows that we've seen him. Yes, we have seen you, boy, but we're not going to eat you, so don't worry about us. And now he seems to settle down. Yeah, yes, good man. Oh, no, now you're walking towards us. Do you want to cross the road? Oh, this could be quite interesting. We're obviously not too far away from where we saw the other pair. Perhaps he's picked up on that female scent. Maybe he's found a dung pile of hers and he can tell that she is coming into estrus. Whee! And off he bounces. Look at this very springy antelope. And very nimble. Off it goes into the distance. That was quite cool. So maybe he was actually heading that way to try and see if he could challenge that contender for potential mate. That would have been quite nice. Sorry, boy. You can carry on now. We'll leave you alone. Oh, we're having lots of luck today. That's very nice. I'm all about seeing daycare in Steenbok. Very pretty. Let's see what else we've got here. Ah, Ginger, you were requesting that we try and look for some more birds. Not a problem, ma'am. We'll keep searching for some birds, and let's see who we've got. This, like I said, this is a nice area for birds. I'll quickly scan here and see if I can perhaps see any of the branches bouncing about. No one seems to be warming themselves up at the moment. I can hear an oxpecker. I can show you an oxpecker. Where are you? Oh, there it is. Sitting on this knobthorn right on the top left branch. There's a few impala scattered around here, which you may have seen as Sebastian panned across. And I can just hear the call of an oxpecker. So here we go, Ginger. Here's the first bird for you. I don't know if you've seen an oxpecker this morning. Oh, there it is. Up there. There we go. Just sitting calling. Just one. I don't see any more oxpeckers, not even down and on the impala. It's just sitting up there and calling. You can't see it. Sorry, we just are struggling here. There's obviously a bit of a glare, and Sebastian's just struggling to see. There we go. You're on it. Perfect. And there it is. Listen to its beautiful call, though. It's actually got a lovely call. Now, this is a sound that you need to be careful of when you are out in the bush, particularly when you're doing bushwalks. It's very important to know this call. It's actually one of the first bird calls we are taught to learn, because it's normally an indication that there are mammals around. And we know with buffalo, oxpeckers are fond of them and they love to sit on their backs. But the same thing goes, they like to sit on rhinos. They don't normally sit on elephants, but they'll sit on hippos, and then of course a different antelope species too. And when you are walking around, you don't want to come face to face with a buffalo or any thick-skinned animal in a drainage line. So if you hear those calls, it's always a good idea just to give a wide berth and find a vantage point and do a quick scan and see if you can spot anything. But they like kudu too, and I've been caught out quite a few times where I thought maybe there's a dugger boy, a buffalo bull, just resting up in a mud wallow, and it turned out there was actually just some kudu. So that happens too, but rather be safe than sorry, especially when you are on foot in the bush. Oh, and I've got another bird for you. It's just landed up and to the right on the top of that tamboti tree. It's a hornbill.